Today we are going to study the Jenner and Davison experiment. This is an experiment in which we will study the photoelectric effect at a higher voltage. The whole setup is made in an evacuated chamber. It has an electron gun that produces electrons by heating of a tungsten filament. This activity is similar to the activity which happens inside our electric bulb, slightly similar. Then comes the velocity of the electrons accelerating potential across the cylindrical anode and are collimated into a focused beam. Collimated means converted into a focused beam. Then comes this beam of electrons falls on the nickel crystal and is scattered in different directions by the atom of the crystal. Thus, in the Davison-Jemmer experiment, electrons are used in the place of light waves. Means since there is duality of uh, particles of light that are photons, they behave like electrons also, or they behave like particles also. Here they have taken an example of electron, as well as they behave like whom? They behave like light waves. So the scattered electrons were detected by the electron detector and the current was measured with help of the galvanometer. If you see the checkup that there is in this setup, there is high tension voltage, collimating anode, electron beam which comes and gets hitted on the nickel crystal, and there is a movable detector in the vacuum chamber which detects the diffracted beam, and the current is being calculated. Low tension is used in order to create the electron beam. Then comes the scattered electrons were detected by the electron detector and the current was measured by the galvanometer. By moving the detector in a circular scale, that is changing the scattering angle theta between the incident and the scattered electron. The intensity of scattered electron was measured in different values of the scattering angle. The scattered intensity was not found to be uniform in all directions as predicted. The intensity pattern resembled the diffraction pattern. Diffraction means when the ray of light changes its path when it comes across a medium. So this is the phenomena of diffraction, uh, with peaks corresponding to the constructive interference and the troughs to the region of the destructive interference. Diffraction is a property of wave. Hence, above observation is implied that electrons form of a diffraction pattern on a scattering, and that particle shows wave-like property to us. Then comes how is Davison-Jemmer experiment used mathematically. We have this formula with us. Davison and Jemmer varied the acceleration potential from 44 volts to 68 volts and observed the peak intensity of the scattered electrons at scattering angle of 50 degree for potential of 54 volts. The peak value or this peak was a result of constructive interference of the electrons scattered from different layers of regular spaced atoms of nickel crystal. So lambda is equal to 1.228 and divided by under root of 54, because this comes from the prior experiment. Lambda is equal to 1.228 divided by under root of v, which gives us here the lambda value as 0.167 nanometers. From the electron diffraction measurements, the wavelength of the matter associated with the electron was found to be 0.165 nanometer. There are two values of lambda obtained from the experimental result. from the de Broglie's relation, where it's close to the agreement required. The Davison-Jemmer experiment thus substantiated de Broglie hypothesis of wave particle and duality of the relation is being verified. Now here you will see use your brain power. What is diffraction? Diffraction results described above can be produced in laboratory by using electron diffraction tube as shown in the figure. It has a filament in which heating produces electrons. This filament acts like a cathode. Electrons are accelerated to quite high speed by creating large potential difference between anode and cathode. So here they have said the word positive electrode. On its way, the beam of the electron comes across a thin sheet of graphite. The electrons are diffracted by atomic layers of graphite form diffraction rings on the phosphor screen by changing the voltage. Phosphor screen is a screen which produces fluorescence in the CRT devices, that is the cathode ray tube devices. Then comes changing the voltage between the cathode and the anode, the energy and therefore the speed. The electrons can be changed. This will change the wavelength of the electron and can bring changes in the diffraction pattern as well. Next part is particles. Material particles show wave-like nature under certain circumstances. This is called as wave duality of matter. So, what is wave duality of matter? We will study further with the mathematical representation into it. Frequency omega and the wave number k are used to describe the waves in the classical theories, while mass and momentum are used in the particulate theory. So wave particle duality implies that all moving particles have an associated frequency, and an associated wave frequency with the wave numbers changes the associated energy and the momentum. So we come across wave particle and duality of matter to the quantum behavior when we are dealing with microscopic objects. Small order of magnitude h sets the scale at which quantum phenomena manifests themselves. If all the material objects in the motion have associated wavelength and therefore an associated wave, then we do not have to talk about the wavelength of a child running with a speed of or you can say with a velocity of v on a path of 2 meter wide, which is 2 meter wide, or a car moving with a speed v on a road of 20-meter width. To understand this, we calculate a student weighing 45 kg is running with a speed of 8 km per hour on the footpath of 2-meter width. A small car weighing 1200 kg is moving with a speed of 60 km per hour on 20-meter width road. Calculate their de Broglie wavelength. So here we will multiply this by 5 by 18 kilometer to hour, or you can divide it by 1000 upon 3600 seconds. So 1000 meters upon 3600 seconds. M1 here is 45 kg for a student. V2, that is the velocity of the next car, is given by 60 kilometer per hour. This is also being converted. Then we are trying to calculate the momentum. How is momentum calculated? Momentum is equal to force into velocity. So force here is 45 into 8 into 10 to the power of 3 in divided by 3600. So we get the answer as 1000 kg meter second for the student. And for the car we will get 20,000. Sorry, for the student we get 100 kg per meter second, and for the car we get 20,000 kg uh, per meter 20,000 kg meter per second for the car. So the de Broglie wavelength, if we try to find with the help of the Planck's constant, lambda 1 would be given to us as h upon p1, that is 6.63 into 10 to the power of minus 34 divided by 100. Then you have to also change the parameters of whom we have to change the parameters, that is we have to cancel the units also, and towards the end you get the answer as 6.63 into 10 to the power of minus 34 is the wavelength for student, and the wavelength for the car is 3.32 into 10 to the power of minus 38 meters. So the wavelength calculated in the example are negligible compared to the size of the object and as well as the width of the path through which they are moving. So therefore the wavelength associated with macroscopic particle does not play a significant role in our day-to-day life. Also, wavelengths for macroscopic particle are so small that they cannot be measured. On other hand, if we try to estimate associated with the de Broglie wavelength of a moving electron passing through a small aperture of size 10 into 10 to the power of minus 10, that is 1 angstrom, or an oxygen molecule in the air, we will find to be significant, and that can be seen in the example given below. So in this example, what we have understood that we will study, calculate the de Broglie's wavelength on the electron moving with a kinetic energy of 100 electron volt passing through a circular hole of 2 angstrom. 2 angstrom is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 10 meters, and electron volt is converted into 100 multiplied by 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. So here we are using the kinetic energy formula, in which we are using m half mv square, where m, the mass is taken as 100, and here we get the answer as half mb square is given as 100 into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. So v is equal to under root of 2 into 100 into 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 9 divided by 9.11 into 10 to the power of minus 31. So you get the answer at 0.593 into 10 to the power of 7 meters per second. So you can calculate momentum P, which is equal to 9.11 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg multiplied by 0.593 into 10 to the power of 7 meters per second. So the momentum which you will receive is 5.4 into 10 to the power of minus 24 kg meter per second. The de Broglie wavelength lambda is given by h upon p, which is 6.63. H is the Planck's constant value. Minus 6.63 into 10 to the power of minus 34 is Planck's constant value. Joule second divided by 5.4 into 10 to the power of minus 24 kg meter second, that is 1.23 angstroms is the final answer. The wavelength of the electron in the above example is comparable to the size of the hole through which the electron passes. The wavelength associated with the electron is same as that of the helium atom, and more than double the size of the hydrogen atom. So on what scale or under which circumstances is the wave nature uh, matter apparent? If the size of the object or the place from where the object is traveling is bigger, quite bigger than the regular requirement, then our this theory cannot be implemented. The size of the object, the aperture through which the wavelength travels, and the size of the wavelength has to match or coincide each other is what is being required. So now we will study photon picture allows the transfer of energy and momentum in the same manner as in the Newtonian mechanics. Wave nature does not modify that. Whenever wavelengths are small compared to the dimension of the slits, the obstacles are not measurable, we can use Newtonian mechanics. In conclusion, both electromagnetic radiation and atomic and subatomic particle nature is dominant during their interaction with the matter. On other hand, while traveling through space, particularly their confinement is of same order and magnitude as associated wavelength, and the wave nature is dominant. So do you know part you all will read? With this we come to end of the chapter. I will discuss the answers in the next week with you all.